buyer's remorse sets in once they make the decision to hire you. Hello everyone, I hope you're well today. I'm happy to be back answering another Ask Me Anything question, and our question today comes from Jason Mudd. So let's hear what he has to say.
Hi Blair, it's Jason Mudd from Axia Public Relations. Blair, we recently earned a nice piece of business and we're very grateful for it. It was a product launch that was only 5 days out, so time was of the essence. The prospect verbally hired us and asked us to quickly reword 3 items in the proposal so he could sign it the same day. Exactly 24 hours later, he emails us 3 questions. Questions that seemed like qualifying questions, questions that probably should have been asked internally before contacting agencies, or at least during our initial conversation. The questions were what a PR plan looks like, why should they outsource versus continuing to do it on their own, and then he asked us to list out our anticipated deliverables so that expectations were fully aligned. I think you'd be proud of what we did. Instead, we pushed back. We expressed concern that we expected to be 24 hours further by now, and this really feels like a big step backwards for such a tight timeline. We asked him why he's asking these questions now and to clarify what are his true concerns about the engagement. While he wanted us to respond to his email with our answers, we required a conversation to answer the questions verbally so we might have a dialogue. Once the call was set, we intentionally waited about 2 hours and we sent him links to our blog posts that addressed these frequently asked questions. We said we did that so our conversation was more effective. He got the email, he immediately signed the agreement and canceled the call. While that worked out great for us, our internal advocate there was not happy with the way we handled it. But we knew we needed to gain control and take back the power based on our training with Win Without Pitching. So I wanted to ask you, how might you have handled this differently? And while this didn't happen, what if he came back 24 hours later with more questions? Because we've seen that happen before too. Blair, I appreciate you answering our questions today.
Okay, well, that's a really good one, Jason, and I hope you're okay with me answering it. I know you addressed it to Blair. Jason was with us in our last in real life workshop that we did in Miami before everything hit with the pandemic. And so it's really good to hear from you, and it's really good to hear you getting out there and trying everything that you learned in that workshop. We have another one coming up in July. We're going to send some information about that pretty quickly here this week, actually. And actually, by the time you see this Ask Me Anything response, you'll probably already have received it. So watch for it. There are a couple things coming up for me here that are really important to consider in the sales cycle. The first one is reassurance and the client's need for reassurance. He was in need of some reassurance, so we'll talk about that. And then the other one is overcoming objections, because there were some things on his mind that it sounds like you come up against frequently. And the reason I think that is because you said you had blog posts ready to go for frequently asked questions. So if it was me, I think you did so many things right, and I'm so proud of you for regaining the control, like slowing things down and letting him know kind of how things needed to work in order for this engagement to be successful. So good job on that front. I probably wouldn't have sent him a link to the frequently asked questions ahead of that conversation, because I think what he just needed was reassurance. He just needed to have a conversation to hear from you on the questions that were coming up for him that he hadn't resolved for himself, which also kind of speaks to maybe slowing down the sales process. Even though I know they were pushing to hit a deadline, there were some things that needed maybe to be buttoned up to reassure him that you guys had this, you were going to take care of him, it was going to be a success. And so I think, especially in these times, people probably need a little bit more reassurance than normal. But even in normal times, we always want to be reassuring late stage buyers, because buyer's remorse sets in once they make the decision to hire you. And you need to be there in that calm, guiding expert place to really help them feel good about the decision they've made and reassure that you're going to bring the value that they're looking for. The other thing is objections. If you have frequently asked questions that address these things he was specifically asking about, then I want you to put those objections on the table first the next time around. It's really on you to uncover as many objections as you can during the sales cycle. And if you know these are things that come up frequently, just bring them up. Let them know, hey, these are some of the questions that we often get before we engage with a client. And I just want to walk through them with you and make sure that we're all on the same page about how this is going to go once you sign the contract and we're off and running. So put those objections on the table for that prospect to deal with first and early so they don't show up late in the sale and become our enemy and derail things. I think all in all, you guys did a great job. I think there's just a couple little tweaks I would have made. So please keep us posted, Jason, on how it goes the next time around. And thanks so much for submitting a question. It was great to hear your voice. And for everybody else, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a like if you like the responses that you're hearing, if you're learning, if it's helping, and submit your questions and then hit the notification bell so you know when we post our responses. All right, everybody, it's been great to be with you today. Look forward to hearing from you and answering more questions in the future. Cheers.